Okay, Amanda, so we are going to start lying head this way on your back. You'll notice the mat that we have has perfect little guidelines in the center. So you just want to kind of, when you place your bottom down, kind of notice where it's at. And I can also be your visual aid, or help with your visual aid opportunities. And then I'm gonna have you bend your knees. Feet will go flat. Good. And you did nearly perfect with your pelvis. Just the teeniest bit, think less than half an inch to the left with your pelvis. Good. Wiggle, wiggle, try to make that feel somewhat good. And then you'll be happy to know that your head can go to the left a little bit too. And then interim your ribs that way as well. So I think you were pretty good with just needing to go left altogether. Now wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Let that feel as natural and comfortable as possible. And then I'm gonna have us start with some core breathing. So hands will go on abdomen. Try to relax any tension. Like sometimes it just feels good to kind of wiggle around, get present on the mat. Do a little body scan. And then if you feel settled, we're going to start with a 3-part breath. The first breath is going to be an expand and relax breath. So on your inhale through the nose, you're going to expand deeply down into your lungs, into your belly, deep into your pelvis. On the exhale, you relax. You just let it go. Let the breath kind of pour out of the mouth. Your body becomes even more heavy and relaxed on the mat. And as you do it again, you're just seeing how much can you fill up the body front, back, side to side, and relax even deeper on the exhale. This is a great exercise or a great breath style for relaxation, for stimulating the parasympathetic state, that rest and digest state. Great breath for winding down at the end of the evening. And also, I like to use it to become present at the beginning of a session. Let's go for 2 more. Just continuing to sense your body. Where does the breath go? Can you fill it up even deeper? Are there any spaces or places that feel restricted that you could breathe into bigger? And can you relax even more? Are there any holding places where you could relax a bit more? Try this one more time. Beautifully done. Next, let's take both hands down to where your left hand is, closer to like the middle part of the belly, the soft tissue part of the belly. This next breath is called expand, contract. Same expansion breath. Breathe in as full and deep as possible. Exhale without moving the bones of your body. Just hug your waist and your core muscles in towards the spine. Do this again. So your lungs expand, your back expands, your belly expands, and then everything wraps you up like you're giving your spine a gentle hug. Now the goal here, and the goal with this full hour of movement, or this 50 minutes of movement, is to really work neutral spine. So keep going, expand fully, and feel all 4 abdominal layers hugging you in, wrapping you up, like a tube of toothpaste, kind of squeezing the toothpaste out through the crown. What we're gonna really focus on is protecting and supporting the discs by giving them their more natural and ideal placement of neutral spine. And then we're going to work the core muscles in different angles and different positions to challenge the natural bracing and activating of the core while maintaining a neutral spine. So here we're just preparing the core. And let's do that one more time. Expand on the inhale and contract on the exhale, wrapping everything up so deeply. Now pause here, feel the bracing, feel the hugging. Try to sustain that as you breathe in a little bit more subtly into the ribs, into the sides and back of the ribs. On your exhale, deepen the core a bit more. This is called what I like to call the contain and sustain breath. So you're containing the core, you're containing the contents of the core. You're holding, connecting, gently bracing everything in, while sustaining a working breath. This breath is really helpful when you're in an action. It won't be for the full time we're together, but anytime we're pulling on a band or lifting legs or activating different body parts and really needing the spine to be stable and supported, this will be the working breath we choose, the contain and sustain breath. So it's a less of a big breath and more of a concentrated posterior, meaning back, lateral, meaning side, lung breath. Ribs will become heavier and wider on the inhale, and core will sustain its activation throughout, maybe even deepening on the exhale. And then relax, wiggle out the jaw. let's stretch one leg out long for just a moment. And let's just flex and point and flex and maybe circle. Good. Did those 3 breaths feel good-ish? Made sense? Yeah. And then circle the opposite direction. Just kind of squeezing your left bum cheek with your brain. So you're kind of feeling with the leg long, you can give it a little squeeze because you're in hip extension with this left leg. So just see if it feels possible. This is also a great place to stretch the hip flexor. And then carefully slide your left knee back in. And we'll do that same thing with the right side. So the right leg slides out. You can point, flex the ankle, just kind of moving the ankle joints, extending and flexing the knee, and just allowing a little bit more joint mobility. You can circle the ankle. Here, the breath can just be kind of that rhythmic nose breathing, but you don't have to brace the core so much because we're not doing like a big lever hold. And then when you are ready, you'll slide that leg back in. Okay, from here, the first exercise that we're going to add on to the contain and sustain breath is a double arm pull down. So with our attachment point directly above the head, so when I set you up, I lined up my mat directly in the center of the attachment point. So depending on where you attach your band to, you'll want to make sure that the middle of your mat lines up with that, and that'll be a good alignment kind of guideline. From here, sister, bring your feet a little closer towards each other. Good. And then what I'm going to have you do with your head heavy, the back of your ribs heavy, and your sacrum heavy is with a soft elbow, you're going to drag your 2 arms down, right back up. The breath can be in and out through the nose, which I kind of like to practice. Oftentimes it's in through the nose, out through the mouth. We do want to practice training nose breathing, at least on the inhale. Now, for proper neck posture, your neck looks really good, but if for some reason your neck felt tight, or if you were training somebody else and they were in a lot of neck extension, just putting a towel behind the wider part of the head, the rounder part of the skull, will help lengthen the neck out and get more of that posture of the neck. Otherwise, this is really good. In through the nose, exhale, pulling down. Good. Now, can you start to feel how just by pulling down on these 2 bands, your core braces in response? Beautiful. This is a perfect place just to start warming up the core in neutral. Every time you pull down, the entire core cylinder braces, tightens, and it actually helps to decompress the spine and support and protect the discs. Good. One more like this. Good. And then one more up. Okay. Now just go ahead and drop those bands back down. We'll come back to them in a moment. Nice. So getting that feeling of the core bracing. Next, I just want to kind of find good alignment. So hands on hip bones. I want you to notice those 2 bonier parts of the hips and just see for a second if they feel level. So you want to maybe even carefully rotate one hip towards the ceiling and the other hip towards the ceiling, and just kind of notice when you do that, one hip becomes higher towards the ceiling and then the other hip becomes higher. You can actually feel that under your hands. So after doing that a couple times, really become aware of where center would be, where it feels like I have the same amount of boniness of 2 hip bones on my hands. And when you're there, I want you to pause. So that's a good indication that there's not going to be a rotation in your low back. Now, if it's safe for your back, you would then do the opposite, do another movement. So tilt your low back down just a bit into the mat, like you're squishing a little grape under your low back, and then roll to your tailbone. And then do that a few times. So this is flexion and extension of the low back. What you're doing here is you're taking the spine into a little bit of mobility, of flexion and extension to find neutral again. So movement is good, but when we're reconditioning disc issues, it's really helpful to sustain more neutral positions and work the core around it. But we want to find where neutral pelvis is, especially since your injury is lumbar. So then I want you to find center where you're not imprinting, but you're not at your tailbone. And also now still feel the 2 hip bones are level. You feel that? Okay, so that is a good kind of indication that your low back is in as neutral as possible. Now, if it felt good, another thing that you could always do when we have like a little towel like this is you can roll it up just like this, and this can always go under the low back, and you can actually press your low back into this support. It's called a lumbar support. But if you feel good, we won't do it. So I'm gonna let you kind of sense, how does your low back feel right now in this lying position? Fine. It feels okay? Okay. So now slide your hands up to your ribs. All right. Now, one thing I know working with you is you tend to have the ribs that want to kind of just go forward, especially in supine when we're in neutral pelvis. So can you feel your 2 ribs kind of pushing up a little bit. Now put your brain in the back of your ribs, and I want you to sink the back of your ribs down into the mat without moving your pelvis. So it's almost like you're smushing the back of the rib cage down, and then you're gonna lift it right back up. And then you're gonna smush the back of the rib cage down, and you're gonna puff it back up. And then just notice, is it easier to push it down or is it easier to puff it up? That makes sense, right? Because that's more of your body shape. What happens is when our ribs are tipped forward, that's gonna put more pressure on the spine in the posterior chain. It's gonna kind of squish the posterior chain, and kind of the front of the discs will be more open. So we want to find neutral with that as well. So when you're ready, I want you to kind of sink the back of the ribs down first. And then without popping the ribs, just let your ribs kind of relax with the weight in the back of the ribs. Okay. And right there would be more like a neutral rib cage. So now we can trust that the lumbar spine between the bottom of the ribs and the top of the pelvis is as neutral as we can get it, because we lined you up side to side on the mat, and then you lined your body up front to back, sagittal plane, by the feelings of the mat. Good? Okay, so you're gonna hold that. Your neck looks good. The big thing I would say is not overly tucking your chin. Especially, I know when I'm in conversation with you, you want to keep your eyes on me. So allow your chin to stay slightly lifted, but the back of the neck to stay long. You got it. Okay, we're going to add on. So one more time. Now that you got the hang of this and you felt the core brace, we're going to go back to this with those details in mind, and we're going to add on. All right, girl. So bring your knees a little closer together. Perfect. So now your knees and ankles are nice and lined up. Slide your right heel or your left heel in towards you. We'll go in a little bit more with the left heel. Good. A little bit more. A little bit more, tiny bit more, one more of those. Okay, now you're even, so we have lines on the mat. So that might feel, when you're doing self-practice, maybe your left hamstring is just a little bit weaker than your right hamstring. Not sure if you are aware of your hamstring tightness, but your left foot wants to be out a little farther than your right. So when you're self-practicing, either maybe line up your feet before you lie down if you're gonna do things like bridges, or just maybe know that your left heel needs to slide in during the reconditioning process. When you're ready, girl, take a deep breath in. Exhale, pull the bands halfway down, pause. Keep a little softness in the elbows, widen your collarbones, put it in your pec muscles. See if you can feel your pec muscles gently engage. You should feel like the wrapping of the under armpit, and you should feel your pecs kind of connected. Can you feel that front body and side body connection? Now, find that sustain and contain breath. Lung breath in, exhale, feel the core activate without tilting your pelvis. You're in neutral. Now, in the background, can you keep that breath going? And then you're gonna do this for me, knees a little closer together. So do you feel how your knees wanna tip out a tiny bit? That was awesome. So that's gonna be your awareness point here. When you're ready, I want you to stamp so hard into the feet, but you're not gonna lift your booty. So stamp and then release, and stamp and release. So what you're doing here is you're kind of turning on the glute muscles, but essentially you're not rounding the low back. You're just getting the glutes prepared and a little bit of hamstring preparation. Let's go 4, gentle nose breathing in the background, 3, 2, and 1. Arms reach up, take a deep breath in, exhale, let it go, and then we're gonna go right back into that same position. Inhale prepares you, exhale, bend, pull the bands down halfway, find your pecs, wrap your under armpits, back of the ribs are melted, nice and wide, chin is lifted, neck is long. This time, similar but slightly different. On the exhale, I want you to imagine I'm slipping that love note under your heels, and you're gonna pop your heels up a centimeter. Ready? Inhale, exhale, heels pop up a teeny bit, and then right back down. And again. It's almost like you're preparing your body to lift your legs up into tabletop. See how that feels. Do you feel your core brace? And think even less than just heels. Think about do you have the strength and the ability to lift your whole foot up for a split second? So exhale, and then right back down. And you can kind of pull more down on the bands beautiful. Do you feel how this is an entire core brace? Literally, if you just did this to prepare you in the morning, before you get out and run and walk around and do kickboxing and do all the wakeboarding, all the fun athletic adventures that you do. This literally is just bracing your core and then releasing, bracing the core and releasing. As long as you line up your spinal column and you keep it pretty stable as you do this, it's just setting your spine up for success for the day, that it will be supported by this muscular connection. So far, good? Okay, 5, beautiful, little sips of air. 4, you got it. And 3, Perfect. Last couple. Good. Good. All right, feet come down, release the band for just a second. You can let it go. Shake out those wrists, take a deep breath in, a deep breath out. And then let's reach the arms long beside the body. Feel like you're kind of pressing into the mat with your hands and see if you can feel how wide the collarbones get without pinching the blades together. From here, I'm gonna have you slide that left heel back about 2 inches. One more little, yep, toes are level here. So just in your mind, I know it feels very bizarre, just kind of let that integrate and kind of settle into that. Now, all I want you to do is I want you to feel like I've wrapped you up in saran wrap from your hips through your ribs. So your spine's not gonna flex or arch. I want you to become one unit, like the Tin Man. Ribs and hips are now one unit. It's very sexy. Ready? I know you'd like that. Press into those arms, and on your exhale, you're gonna lift your hips up maybe 2 to 3 inches. Ribs will just naturally come with. It's like if I spatula'd you up and then spatula you down. The movement comes in your upper thoracic naturally because that's what you're rocking on. And you should feel, and go ahead and keep those knees slightly towards each other. For any of these, if you want to kind of amplify the work, you have options. So say you're self-practicing. We've done the warm-up. Now we're doing glute bridges essentially. So it's not spinal articulation bridges. It's just a pelvic lift and a pelvic lower. Any discomfort in your back. Okay, if you wanted to get a little bit more action through the inner thighs, lift and lower, you could add a ball. Now for you, your knees want to kind of tend to go out. So I'd say the inner thighs could be really good. You just want to make sure that there's no pain that shows up. So far, how are you feeling? Good. And you stamping through the feet and then drawing down through the pelvis. Ribs and hip in one unit, sustaining that core breath, and you're working your triceps here. So this is like really kind of cool. It's active work through the back of the arms and a really great chest opener as well. Okay, let's go for 3 more. Wide toes, evenly pressed. Every once in a while, you could even check in. Do you sense that your pelvis is level? Are your hips even? Are you pressing evenly into both feet? So then for just a split second, take your hands on your hip bones, lower and lift, and see if you feel like they sustain a levelness, or if one feels like it leads the way, or one drops down a little bit quicker. I think you're sensing it. Can you feel that maybe your right hip wants to drop down a little bit? Okay, so keep pushing into your right foot, and I want you to rotate your right hip up a little bit more than you naturally think you should. Good. Ribs hugging in. Okay, and on this last one, I want you to just lift and hold, and I'm gonna give you one more guideline that you can give your own body, so pause. That was a guideline to see if there was rotation showing up. Second guideline, I want you to put your thumbs in the sides of your ribs and your kind of middle finger down the sides of your hips. So it's going to be like this. And I want to see if you can feel, don't worry about it, I want to see if you can feel that there's more hip flaring out on one side over the other. Because it appears.
This one feels like it's sticking out more to me.
Okay, the rib cage or the pelvis?
The hip.
Do you think it's the top of the hip or the side of the hip? So go like this, rub up and down a few times.
The top?
The top, exactly, the top is. So the right hip needs to rotate up, but if you keep going like that, rub up and down, this hip is out farther to the side, not towards the ceiling, but your right hip is out to the side. So I want you to pull your pelvis to your left. Right there, pause. So what I can see is the hips want to translate to your right, which is something we've noticed working together. So your hips need to typewriter over to the left in this position, but you need to rotate your right hip up. So imagine the hips typewriter over to the left, they rotate up on the right. Now pause, bring your knees a little closer together. And then can you feel that you're standing way stronger on your left foot? Yeah, and that's where the pain is. I want you to stamp hard with the right. Way hard, and almost feel light on the left. Really stamp, spread the foot and the big toe ball even more. Okay, so one other thing is I know that your left leg is a little bit more of your dominant leg. So hold here, keep your right hip rotated up, keep your hips translated to the left. Yep, hold, and you might even put your left hand on your rib cage and pull your rib cage into the midline a little bit more on the, your left one into the midline this way. That's gonna line you up. Okay, hold here for just a second. Any pain? Okay, good. Notice how your knees are flaring out. Bring them in. Okay, so these are your adjustments when you're doing anything with bridging or booty lifts. Okay, Take 2 more breaths here and just, I almost want you to feel like your right leg is so much more your focus than your left leg. Okay, still no pain. Okay, see if you can reach up with your hands and grab hold of those bungees. Keep your pelvis up if you can. Yep, it's right above you. Okay, the 2 TheraBands, you're gonna pull them down just like you had previously. Halfway down, okay, hold. Pull your ribs in. We know that your ribs like to flare, so pull your ribs together and towards the floor a little bit. Still doing good on everything? I want you to imagine you're about to march. You're not gonna actually lift a leg up. Stamp into your right foot a lot. Imagine you're gonna lift your left leg. Stamp into your left leg. Imagine you're gonna lift your right. What do you feel?
I feel it a lot in my right glute.
Okay.
Hamstring glute.
Okay, hamstring glute. Okay, so I bet the back of your left knee is tighter, maybe even calf. And that's why you're, or weaker in the back of the knee and calf. That's why your foot was out farther, because you're probably feeling the strength in the right hamstring and the glute, and probably the weakness is in the left calf and back of the knee. That's why it was out farther. So keep going with what you're doing. I want you to stamp a lot harder through your right foot, and I just want you to put the work in the right as you imagine lifting the left. The reason you're feeling your right more than your left is because that's the weakness. That's why that pelvis needed to rotate up a little bit more. And we know that in dancing, you tend to like stabilize on your left a little bit more. Okay, so just do this a few more times. Stamp to float, stamp to float, stamp to float. We're not gonna do this on the left because it's already quite a bit stronger. Make sense? Okay, 3. But as you continue practicing, you will start to alternate. Now stamp through both a lot. Take a deep breath in, and in 1 unit, lower your whole pelvis down. Okay. Pause, take a deep breath in, and right away, you're gonna pull down on those ropes, float 1 knee into tabletop, and then right back down. Other knee into tabletop, and right back down. You'll find the breath. So the exhale is really nice in the exertion. So as you breathe out, inhale, exhale. Exactly. How is this feeling so far?
Good.
Okay, any pain? Love it. Do you feel how this is challenging the oblique sling system as well as we alternate legs? Awesome. Okay, we'll go maybe just a couple more exercises from supine on your spine, and then we'll go into another plane of motion. When you're ready, I want you to float 1 knee up, hold it up. Bring that 2nd knee up, hold both knees up. Good. Now you're going to feel a lot more core. Keep your legs light, keep your shoulders hugged down, and now ready? Just 1 arm pulls down. And then switch. What you're gonna feel is when you do single arm anything, you're gonna feel how the obliques fire up a lot more. Can you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Let's go 3 and 3. Good work. 2 and 2. You got it. Let's go 1 more each side. Okay, now pull both down about halfway. Keep them strong. And then last thing here, let's slide 1 leg out, 1 leg in. So now we're alternating legs. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Biggest thing is that your head stays heavy, your ribs stay heavy, your sacrum stays heavy. Good. Go for 1 more here. Nice. And then knees together. Good. Relax your legs down. Keep the bands in hands. I want to give you 1 or 2 more little things that you can add since you have props. So that whole series is great. Like I had mentioned before, you could do the bridges, you could do everything with a ball between your knees or a band around your knees. So I'm going to give you the ball between the 2 knees. I'm going to have you take both ends of the band into 1 hand. You choose, doesn't matter which one. Okay. I always like to keep a little bit of a soft elbow bend because I feel like you can like release the shoulder tension and actually activate more of the muscular system. So now your other arm can stabilize you from the side. That was just intuitive. Take a deep breath in and just pull down with that single arm. Good. This would be level 1. Level 2 would be knees and tabletop. There you go. And do you feel how it's activating one side more than the other? Perfect. So this is us getting like oblique work without having to do crazy twisting or side bending, which can be kind of dangerous when we're healing a disc issue. So this is called anti-rotation or anti-side bending or anti-flexion or extension. It's anti-movement of the spine by doing single arm, single legged stuff in different planes of motion. And then you'll switch sides. You can keep your tabletop legs or start with the knees down. We weren't there with the knees down long. Opposite hand, so it's up to you. Same thing, opposite side. And just kind of notice One side might feel harder. It might feel a little less organized. If one side feels like, ooh, my brain's just not making sense of this as much, or it's harder, it's a good indication that you might do a few more on that side to build that neuromuscular patterning in the body and to build the true muscular dynamics of that side. Last 3. Is this side a little bit more challenging? Just a tiny bit. You're actually keeping your pelvis really stable and steady. Looks good. Last 2, one thing I would always look at is the wrist, that it doesn't collapse. So always try to keep a straighter wrist is helpful. Okay, final one, and relax. Good. That can be done with the band around the knees or the ball between the legs. So just kind of play around with that when you're up to it. Okay, relax those arms down, shake it out. Let's do a cleansing breath. Big breath in. Deep exhale. One more of those. Big breath in. Deep exhale. All right, girl. Let's roll to the side. You can roll to this side facing the majority of the room. I have this smaller ball underneath the ear. What that's going to do is really be helpful for alignment. Now, we have a couple things. Since we were already doing kind of some good ball between legs on the supine plane position, let's do a TheraBand around the knee. So I'm just going to slide this up and around your 2 knees. This is a light band on purpose. So oftentimes we tend to go for a heavier weight than our body's actually able to sustain proper alignment with. And then we end up like the groin takes over, the QL muscles take over, and there's a lot of gripping that happens. So I like to do with a little bit lighter and see if you can get the true muscle burn and the proper range of motion first. So you're in a fetal position. Bum can be back a little farther than the chest. It would be almost like when we're in a hand or like a squat. We're still in neutral here, but I'm just a little bit more comfortable with my hips back. It'll just be a little bit of a deeper hip flexion. See if that feels good or okay. Which feels better?
Maybe back.
Yeah, just a little bit. And then let's bend your bottom elbow and just kind of wrap the top of the ball. Yeah, there you go. Should put the shoulder in a nice position. Okay, from here, I'm going to give you this band again. So it's still above the head. Hand goes into the band, wrist nice and neutral, and you're going to pull down halfway. Now hold there and just feel. So the top chest wants to roll back on you a little bit. See if that feels okay. Chin up a little bit. So imagine if there was a mirror in front of you and you were sidelined, you're looking right at your beautiful eyes in the mirror. Okay, now from here, I was wondering what that was. Do you feel your chest and upper body? A little bit. Yeah? And then can you feel your bottom waistband lift? Just good, good, good. So just like when we're standing, we have these natural inlets of our waist. So you want to keep a little lift right here. Feels good? Okay, any pain?
No.
Love it. Okay, here we go, sister. Heels are gonna stay together. You're in a good position. Push your bottom knee down. Try to rotate your top knee up. Push down through bottom to lift and release. Now go a little higher if you can. Go, 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 go. And down. Now, let me know if there's any discomfort that shows up doing this. Or do you feel pretty good?
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Where are you feeling this?
My outer hip and my top leg.
Beautiful. Love it. Exactly. So deep external hip rotators. We have 6 of them. And this is kind of the zone that you're feeling it in? Awesome. Got it. And you feel a little bit of core bracing, natural core bracing, because you're pulling down with your upper body, your shoulder girdle and your upper core is active, and your lower legs are kind of pulling at the core. Beautiful. Let's just go for 3. Perfect. And 2. You got it. Let's go 1 more. Good. And then I'm actually just going to sneak this ball in for a moment. It's just going to feel like a little break. Okay. Take a big breath in. Let it go. So throughout this session, when you're ever doing work that feels like a lot of intensity, because this is really focused work, it requires a lot of attention. I like to just every once in a while take a big deep sigh of relief breath, just so the nervous system knows that I'm here on purpose, this is good for my body, and it keeps you in a state of that parasympathetic state rather than the fight or flight state. Okay. Take another deep breath in. On your exhale, you're going to squeeze the ball, and you might even do less tension on the band. I'm going to see if you can reach back and forward with the band now. So hugging the ball And hugging the ball. Just every once in a while giving a gentle squeeze of the ball as you move that TheraBand forward and back. So we're in the lateral plane, side lying, but now our arm is pulling down and going into our posterior and anterior plane. So we're just putting different dynamics into this exercise to challenge the core to stabilize from different angles. Okay, where are you feeling this mostly?
My top oblique.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome. Keep sliding your top hip towards me. Bottom waist should be lifted. Yeah, good. Keep sliding this hip down. Good. The obliques is what I want you to feel. So the fact that you feel your obliques is exactly what we want here. Let's go for 3. The inner thighs actually work with the oblique sling system. So the squeezing of the ball is supporting that as well. Last 1 or 2. Final one here. And relax. Okay, for time's sake, I won't show you these exercises, you're aware of them. You would keep this band in hand halfway pulled down. You would not need any props, but your top leg would reach and you could do circles. You could go forward and back. You could do leg lifts, the whole side lying leg series in Pilates. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. The goal would be, again, we'll just keep this and go to the other side. The goal again would be to keep your bottom waistband lifted and your spine stable. Carefully rotating to the other side. Get yourself organized. Yes, hips back a little bit, felt good for you. Beautiful, heels together. Okay. All right, take a moment, allow your body to settle into position. Cleansing breath. Now remember, you know these certain things about your body. Typically your chin's gonna wanna drop down, so lift your chin up, look forward. Typically your ribs are gonna kind of shear forward, so just gently kind of puff out the back ribs. That was beautiful. And then almost everybody inside lying, I'm gonna bring your knees a little bit more forward, is gonna collapse this waist. So slide your top hip bone away. You'll naturally feel your bottom waistband lift. Good, right? Top arm will come in front of you a little bit, and that's gonna be key to getting more of the front abs. So when you're in these positions, you want the elbow slightly in front of the abdomen. Puff this back a little bit more into my hand. Pull your ribs back. Keep coming, keep coming. Imagine them all, keep going. There, did you feel how this turned on a lot more? That was awesome. Here we go. Bottom knee stays down, top knee rotates up. Exhale. Yep, and your heels can stay together if you want to. It's like a clamshell. We're in that working breath, that contain and sustain breath. Amazing. You're doing good, Amanda. Okay, how are we doing on this side? Any discomfort? Good. And so this is the left side that might be, it's not necessarily stronger. It might even be kind of more, it's just like the go-to, maybe more of the gripping muscles. But it's definitely more of your preferred activating leg. So the fact that you're doing this and there's no pain, that's good. Still feeling your external hip rotators? Okay, last 2. Beautiful, girl. 1 more. Hold it, hold it, hold it. I'll just sneak this in. Okay, and then you get to rest. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Now reduce the amount of tension on the band. Slide your hands down just a bit, or your hand, your left hand. Good. And then we stretch that arm straight down. Good. Point your knuckles towards me a little bit. Beautiful. And then squeezing the ball, you're just going to slide that arm forward and back. You got it. Forward and back. Perfect. All right, as you're here, I have to give you big time credit for your rib cage. I don't see you losing the ribs gently kind of pointed down rather than forward. That's good. Now notice on this side, do you still feel the top obliques?
Not as much.
Not as much, okay. And it might not be that that's necessarily a bad thing. You might be stronger in your left obliques, but you might not be. Oftentimes because you pivot more on your left, you stand on your left if you were gonna do like a kick of the leg, your right leg would be your kicking leg and your left leg would be your pivoting leg, correct? Your obliques on your left side might be just a little bit stronger in general. So it's okay that you don't feel it quite as much on this side. Point your knuckles down just a little bit. Last 2, you're doing great. Keep squeezing the ball. 1 more. Good work. And then you can let that band gently fall above the head. And then carefully take a deep breath in. We're going to transition to all 4s next. So you can keep the ball in the band actually and just kind of roll onto hands and knees, nice and thoughtfully. And then just kind of take a moment here, spreading all 5 fingertips apart. You want to notice the mat. What I love about this mat is the alignment point. So you can trust that if your hands are on either side of that symbol on the blue rectangle, you're good with where your hands are. The knees look good too. They're right on either side of the green symbol as well. So at first, I just want you to look straight down, looking between your 2 hands. That's going to lengthen the back of your neck. So we're in neutral from all 4s. Take a deep breath and try to lift this part of your spine into my hand a little bit more. Up, 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 up. Oh, yep, not so much here, but here. There you go. That's more of the rib alignment that you could benefit from. What does this feel with just kind of pulling the rib cage back without overly tucking your tail under?
It feels like it's stretching in my lower back.
Good. Does it feel like good or weird?
No, it feels good.
Beautiful. And that does make sense because you tend to be just a little bit more dominant in these erectors here. You've stayed in neutral here and you've actually pulled T12, T11, T12, your lower ribs back where they belong, giving your QLs a little bit more of a stretch in your lumbar spine here. Looks good. Now, what I want you to do is pull your shoulders wide. You feel this under armpit muscle. The more you continue pushing into the floor and keep this rib cage kind of up between your 2 shoulder blades, you'll feel your pecs and your arms stay nice and active. Okay, from here, taking a nice deep breath in through your lungs, through your ribs, on your exhale, without moving the bones of your spine, hug your core muscles in so deeply. And let's do that again. Inhale, really nice, big, long breath. There's your nice neutral spine. Exhale, squeeze. Here we go again. Inhale, feel this expand. Exhale, feel this wrap. And again, inhale, lungs. Exhale, waist. Good, so far okay? Okay, then from here, I'm going to have you tuck your toes under. Yeah, beautiful. Take another deep breath in, and on your next exhale, rooting down into the balls of your feet, I'm gonna have you float your knees up. Now, what I typically like to do once I float my knees up, go for it once. I like to walk my feet 1 inch more forward to get more of the balls connected. And now tap your knees right back down. Okay, so that's what we're gonna go into. How'd the first one go?
Fine.
Okay, here we go. Take a deep breath into your lungs. Exhale up, inhale down. Exhale, wrap your core to float. Inhale, tap. This again would be such an excellent exercise if you were just gonna do one to prepare you for the day. Wrapping your under armpits towards your breast line. That's going to externally rotate your shoulders in socket and keep your wrists a little bit happier. Okay, any discomfort? Or are you feeling pretty solid?
Good.
I love it. Here's 4. Your alignment actually looks pretty darn good. I'm not seeing the translation quite as much here. Okay, 2. Do you feel like you could sustain for a moment? Okay, up and hold. Keep pressing into those fingertips. Really spread your fingers. Now pull your 2 knees apart. Go, 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 and then squeeze the ball in. Yes. Now I've positioned the ball on purpose between the band. So ideally, if it's in the right place, it won't fall. Keep going. And squeeze. We're adducting and abducting in a neutral all 4s. How is it feeling?
Good.
Okay. Keep lengthening up this. Pull your head up, but tuck your chin in. Yes, last 2. 1 more here, and then come down. Good. You lost the ball right at the perfect time. Good job. Okay, deep breath in. These can be a little bit wide, and I'll have you keep the TheraBand. All right, now wrap your under armpits. Hug your belly muscles in without rounding your spine. Puff up your upper back and plug your shoulders down. Good. Lift up here a little bit more. Good. Okay, you're going to choose one hand to reach forward and grab one of the bands. Doesn't matter which hand. Okay, perfect. And you can do 1 band or 2. It's up to you. But what I'm going to have you do is take an inhale to prepare, and then you're going to pull down on that band. Good. And do that a few times. Good. Okay, so can you feel with this single arm exercise that your core braces? Good. So all of these are meant to challenge you to sustain neutral as we utilize different appendages, arms, legs, and different planes of motion. So now we're pulling down. Yes. From that right side. Let's go 3. Perfect. And 2. And then 1. Go ahead and switch which arm you're pulling back with. Okay, stabilize first. Wrap the under armpit looking straight down. Stabilize. Nice breath in. And then drag that left arm down. Good. Things to consider are, how do you do on one side compared to the other side? How does it feel? Do you feel yourself shift on one side more than the other? So for this particular one, it looks like just a little bit you lean to the right a bit much. Good. Keep that going. Good. Notice how that changed things as you slid your ribs over to the left a tiny bit more. Did you get more right obliques?
Yes.
Good. I think the right obliques might be just a little bit weaker on you. So when you do this exercise, pulling back with the left, just translate your ribs slightly to your left. Last few, looking straight down, smooth out the back of the neck just a tiny bit more. Excellent, girl. Good. And then go ahead and slowly bring that band forward. Take a deep breath in. Spread all 5 fingertips apart. Tuck your toes under. And then with a neutral spine, hips and ribs are one unit. You're going to press your hips up and go into a downward facing dog. Good. And just see if you can stretch. Does that feel okay for your body?
Yes.
Kind of a nice little break. Take an inhale. In these downward dogs, I really like to, spiral the armpits towards your face. Did you see how much space that gave you and how squishy these got? Spiraling the armpits towards you actually externally rotates the arm and socket and creates space for the cervical spine to lengthen down. Good work. Take another deep breath in. And on your exhale, knees gently come down. Okay. From here, you're going to carefully come all the way up to kneeling tall. Okay, how we doing?
Good.
Okay, you'll grab hold of the bands. Okay, so we were supine, we were side lying, we were all fours, now we're kneeling tall. All of those all 4 exercises can be done facing the opposite direction. So we'll see if we get to them today, but I want you to know that if you turned around and had the bungee from behind you, you could pull forward with the band. Same thing to the side. So if you did all 4s from the side, you grabbed it, you pulled it in, that's adduction. So the actual technique and the goal would be that we do all 4s, pulling down, pulling in, pulling out on the band, and pulling overhead from all 4s, one single arm going. Okay, so we'll do some stuff in kneeling tall, and then we'll see if we have time for that. So open collarbones, inhale breath. At first, what would it feel like to just drag both arms back and forward? So a little chest expansion. This is a tricep pullback. Inevitably, you're going to feel your core brace. This is also a great booty connector. So I want you to feel the wrapping glutes. And as you pull those arms back, think about most of the pulling back coming from here, not from here. So those shoulder blades want to pinch a little bit. Stop before the shoulder blades pinch. Really get it from posterior deltoids and triceps. Good. Now just a little bit. Can you see? Look to your left. Can you see how your ribs are behind your bottom? Yep, just a little bit. Notice the difference. You should feel a little bit more abs. What changed?
I feel it more in my bed.
Okay, that's a good thing too. The glutes and the abs work together for sure. So that's good. Eyes looking straight forward. Good. And then taking either 2 hands into one hand, or you can drop one of the bands, either way. And then from here, just a single arm pull back. Let's bend the elbow this time. Bend and drag. Good. And then bend and then drag it a little bit too. So here we go. Almost perfect. You're going to bend and drag it back. And so instead of locking it, it's just a little bit of almost just like a little softer elbow. There you go. For me, it gets more muscular connection. Now, what's going to want to happen is your right side body's going to want to rotate back, and you're not going to let that happen. So this is an anti-rotation exercise. Can you feel that? Yeah. You feel the glutes and kind of the rotational muscles turning on? Beautiful. And then go ahead and switch sides. Okay, beautiful. Perfect. Good. This side a little bit harder? Or just like a little maybe less natural?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I noticed on this side is the shoulder wants to elevate and the shoulder blade wants to wing a little bit. This shoulder just looked stronger altogether in retraction and downward depression. So keep thinking about this shoulder pulling down. Yes, you're squeezing an imaginary something under your armpit. There, that looks better. Let's go. And so when there's a side that seems a little weaker, we do just a few more. Keep going. Now what I notice is this is collapsing down, so just open up your right rib cage a little bit. There you go. And do you see how when we open this up, this dropped down? And this is going to drop that shoulder. So I think that that would be a good cue for you too, is just thinking about the left ribs kind of pulling in. Okay, 3 more. Beautiful job. Last 2. Good work. Final 1. Okay, we'll start kneeling tall to the left. So just turn to the left for me next. Good. So, yep, just like that. So you'll be facing the mirror. And you know, I'm going to take this off. Okay, so I had you kneel tall, facing forward, pulling back. You could also, in that kneeling tall position, you could go into a lunge. So what I'm going to do in our side posture work is I'm going to have you keep one knee down and you're going to bring one leg forward. So, yep. Now, if you can, I'm going to have you lift this other knee up and we'll put it on the pad. So, good job. Okay. Now, with the knee kind of floated up, you're going to notice that it allows the hips to be more level. You see that? Or if this knee was on the ground, this hip would be much lower. So that's the purpose of the pad. Okay, now from here, you're going to straighten out that wrist for me. Good, and you're going to pull in. Now if you need more resistance, you just choke up on the band a bit. Now we're in adduction. Okay, so it's internal rotation and adduction here. Do you see how that changes what body parts are working? So this could be done kneeling tall, just like we did facing forward. Facing forward, this could be done in this kneeling lunge. So you have varieties of positions. This looks good. Where are you feeling this mostly? Okay, good. You got it. That's definitely what we want. Now, stay in this same position, but take your left hand into the bands. And let's go. You can either rotate open or you can draw a sword. So just see what feels better. Good. And notice the whole goal is the stability factor. Yes, good job. Keep breathing. Beautiful, sister. Still feeling mostly core? Maybe a little bit of left arm and shoulder? Yeah, left arm and shoulder is definitely working here. And I think the left arm and shoulder is just a little bit of your less dominant arm in certain moves. So this would make a lot of sense. Let's go 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Let that band go. Come down to kneeling, facing away from the door. And then I'll just have you go to all fours one more time. And then we'll make our way around to side kneeling, facing the other side. Okay, so walk back just a little bit with your hands and knees. That should be good. And then let's reach back and grab the band with your right hand. There you go, nice. Okay, and you can use just as much resistance as you'd like. All right, so to the best of your ability, let's actually bring the band down at first with the hand just kind of stabilized. Okay, beautiful. So find your core, looking straight down, really push the earth away from you. Take a couple breaths, set your core up for success. You did a great job with your spinal column. Looking a little bit more down, pull your throat up a little bit more. So yes, gorgeous. Okay, now from here, sister, sometimes having a wider base of support can be helpful, but if you feel good here, stay exactly as you are as you just bend your right elbow beside your waist, just like this. All right, here we go. Take a deep breath in, exhale, overhead press. Inhale down, exactly. Good. So you see, we're just challenging the core to balance with less support because we're 3 points of contact rather than 4, and we're doing different movements or activations with arms and legs in different planes of motion. Let's go 4 and 3. Good. 2. And then from here, you're just going to do kind of a half elbow out and then overhead. So elbow comes down, yes, and overhead. So just changing the angle of the shoulder blades. That's it, good. Let's go for just 3 more of these. 2, and then notice one other adjustment. On this one, bring your arm back like this, and then scoop it forward. It's more like a bicep. Yeah, exactly. Like you're kind of curling, yep. Sometimes a little weird with the band. In these positions, you're always welcome to kind of move more to one side of the mat so the band doesn't get you. Do you feel how this is slightly different with the core is bracing? Yeah, beautiful. So you can't really get this stuff wrong. As long as you're in a good position and you play around with how you're pulling the band, you're gonna get some good work. When you're ready, you can let that right hand band go. I'll have you reach back for your left hand side. Good job. And we'll start when you're ready with both hands onto the ground. Set your core up for success. Reset. Maybe you're centering breath, looking straight down, pulling your throat up, activating your core. Bend your elbow, like your hands next to your shoulder. Yeah, and then we do the overhead press first. That's it. Good job. Inhale, exhale. Good. And you're just looking to the center of the mat, making sure that the hips and the ribs don't slide. Typically, the arm that we lift up, the hips are going to want to slide off to that side, just as a little preference of the body. So we want to adjust those in compensations. Good. Go for 2 more. Perfect. And then you do kind of a half around. Bend your elbow out to the side and overhead. Out to the side is kind of like a wide arm push-up or a wide arm overhead press rather than a narrow. That's it. Couple more. Beautifully done. And then arm scoops forward, kind of like a bicep scoop. Good. Finding the breath. You're doing great. Exhale, deepens the core activation. Nicely done. Last couple. And 1 more. Beautiful. Slowly come on up. Good. This time, and this is how I would probably have gotten you into it on the other side, is kneeling on this from the floor rather than doing the lunge to come up, but you're very active. So if somebody was really in chronic like flare up, this is going to be an easier way to get into it. So you're going to turn and face the camera. Your left knee will be on the pad and your right foot will come out onto the floor in front of you. Good. And actually, I think we might need to go back just a little bit. Sorry about that. There we go. Yep. That way this isn't too far behind you. Okay. Here we go. So our kneeling lunge from the opposite direction. So what you want to feel is that foot that's in front of you, the heel lines up with the socket. So I'd move it in just a little bit, your right foot in. Good. So it's not like you're on a tightrope, but it's like you're on like just as wide as the hip sockets. When you're ready, girl. Ribs point down, eyes lift up, exhale, pulls in, adduction. Good. Good. And that is the work right there. I feel like sometimes the kneeling lunge is one of the harder ones to keep the body right in the center. Yeah. If you wanted a little bit more base of support, that back foot toes could tuck under, and that's usually a nice little kickstand. Perfect. Let's go for a few more here. Looks good. You feeling core? Perfect. Couple more like this. And then you'll take right hand in band. Good. And we can externally rotate or you can draw that sword. You'll feel it. Sometimes less resistance when we go into externals. Helpful. Good. Just feel. And again, you can't really get this wrong. You could go palm down. You could go palm up. You could reach up towards the corner of the room. The goal is really organizing the hips and the ribs and the head, the weight centers, and then moving the arms and the legs in different positions to challenge the core and neutral. Let's go just 1 or 2 more. Perfect. You got it. And relax. Nice. So far, okay? Good. And then from here, I'm going to have you come 1 more time to all fours, facing whichever direction you'd like. Alrighty, let's spread all 5 fingertips apart 1 more time. This could be done on forearms or it could be done on hands. Let's keep it with hands for right now. And all I want to do is have you practice a step back to plank. So you're going to wrap your armpits. 1 knee stays down. You're going to step 1 foot back without moving the back. The other foot comes back. Then you'll bring the opposite knee down and return. Good. And then opposite leg reaches back. Find the core first. Then send the second leg back. Beautiful. Now, as an athlete and as an instructor, you probably do a lot of planks. But just notice with this extra concentration, can you feel just like the deepening of the core awareness? Having to stabilize for that split second when that leg steps back. So much is about becoming super conscious during these different exercises, or these very similar exercises even. So far, okay? Good. Now, depending on the level of action you were looking for in a session, if you wanted to hold your plank, you could challenge yourself there. So one way to challenge yourself, keep puffing up your bottom ribs, is you could tap one hand to the opposite shoulder. Yep. And then down. The goal is that there's not a lot of chatter from the hips. The hips stay pretty stable. So for me, I like wider base of the feet for doing that, which you've already have it. You already have your wider base. That's perfect. Try to sense even balls of the feet. Perfect, girl. And now, keeping your hands nice and wide, you're going to step one foot out, tap the floor beyond the mat, right back in, stabilize core, opposite leg. Yes. What you'll notice too is maybe one side feels less confident than another side. If you do sense that in any particular exercise, you might do a couple more on that side. Now, what I'll start to have you notice, pause. Look down at your 2 feet and notice how your right leg ended up more underneath you as you continue to go. Yeah, so you might even just keep your right leg there or your left leg there and just do the right only or the left only. Or just keep looking down, but that'll take your head out of alignment. All right, when you're ready, knees can come down. That was perfect. Okay, how did that feel?
Good.
You're doing good. All right, one last thing on the mat before we come up to standing that's really, really powerful is side planking work. So what I'm going to have us do to actually utilize the band is I'm going to have you step off the mat and I'm going to turn this mat sideways so that when we do the side plank, you can actually pull the band forward or back. Okay. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you come back to the mat. You're going to be on your left side hip facing the wall. So all the way down, left hip down, knees bent, forearm down, and maybe go a little bit, maybe go towards the mirror just a tiny bit more. Beautiful. Okay. And then I'm going to have you see if you can find a very supportive modified side plank. So knees going back might feel a little bit better. You'll see. When you're ready, strong left arm, you're going to lift up, and I actually kind of like to have the top leg long, but just see what you feel works. How does that feel at first? Okay, now check out with this ball. If we were to place the ball just slightly underneath you for some support, how does that feel?
Better.
Kind of helpful, right? Any pain?
No.
Beautiful. So you're facing the wall. Let's just take one band in hand. You're going to have to choke up pretty close because we're close. Hug the ribs back a little bit. Look straight forward and pull back on that band. Yes. Do you feel how this challenges the core to not rotate, and then you can open and close that elbow forward and back, forward and back. Good. So the ball's there to help support the low back by helping keep the hips lifted. You could do this by pulling back like this. You could also turn and face the other way and pull forward on the band. Let's go 2. 1 more. Now it won't make it very fair, but I'm just going to have you flip over and we'll do the opposite pushing with the other side. So you're exactly where you are. You need to be. You're just going to flip and face the opposite direction. So that we'll do side plank on both sides. Yeah. The main difference is when you self-practice, you'll do both of them. Nice. Look at you. Okay. Bottom knee presses. Bottom forearm is really active. Good. I just wanted you to get a feeling for both. Pop your right elbow out a little bit farther. There we go. Do you feel like this is in a good position, or do you feel like the ball's a little too low? There you go. And now try to keep your hips up with the strength of your own waist, and then you're going to punch forward. Feels a little different, right? Mm-hmm. Good. Drop your head a little bit. Now, if the neck at any time gets tired, you can always look down towards the mat, and it's such a nice technique for relieving the neck pressure. Good. Looking all the way down, like even twist more. Twist your head down more. There you go. Do you feel how that feels a little bit better for the neck? Mm-hmm. Good. Last 3, do you feel your obliques? Good. And 2. Last 1. Good. and relax. So your body would have been too long to go the other way because the wall would have been in the way. Come down. But I wanted to make sure we did side planks both sides. All right, sister, come on up to standing one more time. And we're going to end with some standing work. So my goal with the floor series was to give you a feeling of lots of different variety of movements that you could do the anti-movement, anti-side bend rotation, flexion extension from back, side, kneeling, position, all fours position, and you could just get creative. The biggest thing is the modification or the neutral spine. All right, when you're ready, I'm gonna have you stand up onto the mat again. You'll notice that I lined up the center of the mat with the center of the attachment points. That's always like the biggest key. All right, let's just take your right hand into the band. Well, actually, we'll do both. So unilateral work is really good too. So you'll see the attachment point has to be higher, kind of like at chest level is really good here. It could be a little bit lower, like towards like lower ribs. Let's begin by spreading the toes apart, looking down, making sure you're at the center of the mat. And then you're gonna send your booty back into a little bit of a squat. Perfect. All right, now from here, wrap your under armpits, eyes look directly forward, wide collarbones. Notice in the mirror to the side of you that your ribs aren't popping, that the ribs are pointing straight down, but you're also not tucking the tailbone under. You're gonna let your arms go forward on an inhale, exhale, pull back. So this is a unilateral move, or a bilateral move, my bad, where you're doing both things, the same thing on both sides. And then we'll go into a unilateral move, which will challenge the core a little bit differently. It will challenge the muscles of rotation and side bending without actually having to move the vertebrae. I would say send your booty back a little farther, lean forward a little bit more, lean down a little bit more. Yeah, and puff this out. Good. All right, now from here, just one arm pulling back. Good, and I'll take this one, and then we'll just stick with the one at first. Pulling back and return. And just notice how that changes things, how that's different. And then also notice it's different when you pull back like a row to whereas you scoop the arm back like kind of more like a tricep pullback. Yeah. Yeah, feel the difference? Good. Inhale, exhale. Body still feeling good? You're doing great. Okay, 2. Let's do one more here. Turn your palm to face you. You might have to choke up a little bit and you could bicep curl. Good. You're just gonna see how it changes what muscles fire to keep you neutral when you pull the band in different directions. So just play with all the different angles that you could pull the band sustaining neutral. You got it. One more here. Good. Standing tall, both bands in hands for a second, and let's just clear it out with a couple double arm pullbacks. Good. Wrap the glutes, eyes lifted. Even pulling back, feeling the core bracing. Gorgeous. One more here. Good. And then you'll keep the left hand in band. Send your hips back into that squat again. Hips back, chest forward, ribs hugged in. We'll row it first. So elbows pulling straight back. So you might have to choke up a little bit more. So it's a pure row. There we go. Rowing back like you're elbowing somebody behind you. Good, Amanda. This looks perfect. Good. The goal is to not let your torso twist forward on the left. Yeah. And then straight arm-ish pullback. So tricep. Here you go. Always adjusting how much resistance you have if you need. Yeah, good work. Last couple like this. Then we'll bicep curl so you choke up on the band a little bit. You'll make a bicep. And then you'll curl in and out. Exactly. Noticing how this feels beautiful. Good. Let's go for 3. Inhale, exhale, 2. And 1. Beautiful. And then come on up to standing. Okay. So this could be done in a lunge, pulling one arm back, bicep curling, pushing out. We'll do the lunge facing the other direction. So I want to show, and squats can be done in the side plane, in the front plane, in the back plane. So that was your squat. Let's do side position. So turn and face your camera on the camera. Let's take left hand into this band and let's widen the stance a little bit more. So when I'm when I'm standing upright, I like a little bit of a wider base and a little bit of a bend in the knees for my obliques to really catch hold so that you don't grip with the quadratus lumborum muscles, those QL muscles in the back. I like to have a little bit of a soft elbow bend, and just like we did when we were on all fours, exactly. Exhale. Or I guess when you were kneeling tall, and you can feel how awesome it is for the obliques, but how safe it is for the spine because you're not twisting the spine. And so that's the goal. And by doing, like, you could literally just do a little standing series before you leave the house. But I think it's repetition is key and really feeling like, oh yeah, this feels like it's working for me. This is adduction and or internal rotation. And then move it to your right hand, just like we did in the side plane. Maybe you draw the low sword, maybe you externally rotate. You can't get it wrong. If you start to feel that you lose alignment or organization, you just move closer to the attachment point. This looks good. The main thing is just keep checking in with yourself and being so honest, like, is my pelvis organized? Is my rib cage organized? How's my alignment here? That's it. Beautiful. And then let's keep it even. We'll just turn around facing the mirror, same exact thing. Wider stance, soft knees, active legs, aligned core, in and out. Finding that core breathing that we started the session with, in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. And you're just continuously visualizing, feeling it and seeing it, your head perfectly above your ribs pointing straight down into your pelvic bowl, and your pelvis aligned beautifully, hip bones to pubic bone, sacrum and tailbone. Left hand can find the band, externally rotate or draw that low sword. Good. The goal here is if you feel yourself shift off to the right, then you're losing a little bit of that connection. So you're doing good. It looks like you're doing good. But just know that that would be the tendency. If somebody wasn't strong enough here, their whole body would continue shoving over to the right in response to this band that they're pulling to the left. Okay, good. Couple more like this. And I didn't have you do it on the other side, but I'll just kind of put this in here for just awareness. Bring both hands onto the band and just tug the band right into the center and just hold. And so now both arms are kind of working and you're just sustaining and breathing. You could do your squats here, right? You could do lunges here. All that makes sense, right? How does that feel? Okay. And then go ahead and turn and face me. Let's keep that band in hand. And I'm going to move it down just a little bit. I'm going to move this down. And what I'll have you do is I'm going to have you crowd to the left-hand side of your mat. There you go. Yep. And then your right hand will grab the band. That way it doesn't get in the way. Okay, sister, we're almost done. Let's keep your right leg where it is and step your left leg forward. No, I lied. Other way. Left foot back, right leg forward. There we go. Okay. Now your back heel's going to lift and you're going to bend both knees and send your bottom back. Okay. Now find your stability, and you might be too far forward. We'll see. You feel like you are, step back just a little bit closer to the attachment point. Okay. Back heel lifted. Both knees bent, leaning forward, and then with a bent elbow, you're just kind of pushing forward. Exactly. And you're going to feel how that whole left side wants to rotate forward on you. Try to keep your left shoulder and breast line back. There you go. You feel some good core? Good. And ideally in your movement space, you have mirrors in front of or to the side of you, so you can keep an eye on that alignment. Let's just go for 3. Good. And 2. And depending on where you're working, let's stay in this shape one more time. Go 1. Now I'm going to take the band, reach up and back overhead. Good. Come right back into it. And now karate chop over. See, it's a different angle. You can't really get it wrong as long as your body's in alignment. You pull from different angles and it changes things. Make sense? Okay, one more like this. Good. And then let's give you one more. Take it out to the side. Take your arm out to the side and just almost like you're sweeping. Feel how that's different. It just gets different angles. It's so powerful. 3. Good. 2. Carefully come up, shake it out, step over to the right side of the mat. Good. So there's a billion more. I was thinking about all the different, there's probably 100 more. But this is a good starting position. It gets the kind of wheels turning a little bit, right? And you might have done a lot of these in therapy too. When you're ready, we have the elbows bent and we punch forward, I think was the first one we did. Okay, back heel lifted. Good. Exhale, inhale. Notice how this side feels in comparison. So far, okay? Okay. And you can change, you could stay with this left arm and you could lunge either leg forward because it's just gonna change things. Not any particular lunge that's necessary for one arm or the other. I would just do both on both sides probably. Now from here, let's sweep out and I'll give you the overhead. Sweep and return. Good, keeping a soft bend in the elbow for protection of the shoulder. You just keep finding center line. Keep that beautiful breath going. Last one or two here. And then arm goes overhead. Yeah, you got it. You didn't even need my help. Lean forward and karate chop. Yes. You'd make a good wood chopper. Good. Couple more. Good. And then after doing all these unilateral exercises, I always like to just kind of seal it in with a bilateral, kind of like we did when we were facing forward. So stay facing out, one hand on either band. Let's soften the knees again, get very active, and then you're gonna scoop your arms forward. Good. Good, yeah, that one's the hardest one to not get pulled back into space. You're doing good, there you go. Now just the tiniest bit, you look good, pause. Look down at your feet. And what I want you to do is just kind of notice the ankle wants to drop in a little bit. So your feet are out more and the ankle's dropped in. Spiral the forefoot in a tiny bit. Beautiful. And this one in. And you can either move this foot out or this foot in just so you're like in the middle of the mat. Okay. Now when you go back into that position, so go back again, just notice how the knees want to collapse a little bit in closer than the ankles. In this stance, I want knees a little wider. When you're doing something like lying on your back, knees a little closer together will be your ticket. Now, holding here for just a second, feel when you just push those knees out, more muscles came on, guaranteed, right? You feel your arches lifted, but your big toe ball staying grounded. With those knees staying aligned with the center of the ankle, now your hips and booty have to work. Now, the tiniest bit, turn your palms to face up, and maybe a tiny bit. That's it. Perfect. This is the same as when you're doing your bridges. Right hip needs to rotate forward. If you were on your back, that would be towards the ceiling. So rotate your left bum cheek back. Yes, there you go. There you go. In this position, your posture is just needing to rotate back on the left, forward on the right. Similar to bridge, the right hip needed to rotate forward, right? So just keep rotating your right hip forward a little bit. Here you go. 3. Almost there. 2. And 1. Okay. You want to end with one more core challenge exercise from seated that I think you'll like? Okay, I think it feels good to have a little pad. You're going to sit on this pad facing the bungees. So your booty can go kind of to the front edge of the pad. Good. You could use either one of these bands. Let's use this one. Grab hold. Okay, so the biggest thing is it's nice to do ab work. No, it's not gripping. It's nice to be able to do ab work, but oftentimes when we do ab work, it can be a little bit tricky on the low back, especially if there's rounding. So what I want you to do is find a true neutral, hinge back. So what you're gonna do here is, what would be helpful is if you were against the wall, if you put your feet up against the wall with bent knees, it also can be helpful. Today though, just flex your feet, and I want you to feel like you're driving into your heels. The cool thing about this mat is it's pretty tacky. So can you feel how you're like pushing into your heels and like pushing into something, but it's not gonna go anywhere? That will give you the same sensation. It's gonna turn your booty muscles on. Elbows are in, that's gonna wrap the scapula and get the pecs engaged. Now, you're in a nice neutral spine. As you lean backwards, your pelvis goes with you. So you still kind of have to think about curling the pubic bone, but you don't let the ribs really round. And then you come right back up. Do this a few times, maybe slide your heels out a little farther and see how this feels. See if your back, if this works well for your back, and if you feel your abs working pretty strong. So far? Mm-hmm. Good. Little gentle breaths in the background. Good. And then let's go back one more time. Hold back. Okay, pause and just pull one arm forward and back. Keep the other arm right where it is. And right arm forward and back. Yeah. And you can alternate, or you could hold one and do several on the other. If you wanted to challenge yourself at some point, you could take both bands into one hand and do the hinge backs with just one arm bracing the two TheraBand sides. That's going to really challenge the obliques. Yep. You feel how that's kind of different? Yeah. You can row, or you can just now hold it back on this next one, hold it, and then go back and forward with your torso. Yep. So there's so many things you can do. You could have a TheraBand around the knees or a ball between the knees. We'll do the other side, left hand rows, holding it back for the first round. Good, just staying in your hinge. See if you go back a little farther. There you go, Amanda, good job. That's it. A couple more here. And then hold it back on this next one. See if you can go forward a few inches with your torso and back a few inches. Good, chin up a little bit, eyes just up a little bit. There you go. Awesome. And then back one more time. Take the bands into each hand, one band to each hand. And then things like this. You can bicep curl. Do a couple of those. Good, eyes up, chin up. Do you still feel safe in your back? Good. Now on this next one, hold. Just bicep curl one, holding the other one. Yeah. And you're just gonna feel how it challenges the obliques on one side. Good. So you can play around with it. It can be rows, it can be sidearm press backs. The biggest thing is that you truly are in a neutral and you feel safe in the back, and your body will usually give you that indication. And relax. Good. Nice. From here, let the bands go. Lie down on your back one more time and just get comfortable for a second. Okay. Check in. See how you're feeling. Let the body completely surrender, completely relax. Arms can be heavy beside the body. Legs can be relaxed on the mat below you. And then just see if you can integrate some of the movements or some of the feelings or thoughts that came through in this last session. And then for a moment, let's just take our mind inside the body and send a little deep, full breath and love into any spaces or places that typically are a little bit challenged or a little bit edgy for you. Just letting those areas of the body know that we were here on purpose, with love and compassion and genuine desire for complete healing to take place. And within this moment of being internal and sending that deep love and respect into your body, planting that seed and that true knowing that by showing up with consistent practice, with presence and introspection, with curiosity, attention to detail, that as you do these exercises more and more, listening to your body, doing a bit more on the areas that feel a little less connected and or weak, releasing the areas that might feel a little overwhelmed or overactive, breathing more deeply and fully in moments that you're feeling like your body needs rest, and connecting more deeply into the working breath on those moments where you have more energy. Being completely at one in this process of reconditioning with your body. And so imagine a beautiful seed. See the color, the shape of that seed. See it there in your mind's eye. See it spinning maybe behind the eyebrows. Maybe it has a color. And I want you now to just take that beautiful seed of possibility and a deep desire for complete healing and ease in the body. I want you to draw that energy, that blessing, that invitation into that seed. And I want you to draw that breath in now. Fill that seed up with all of this life-giving oxygen. Breathe it in. See that seed being nourished by your thoughts, by your breath, by your intention, by the love, by your focus. And then on this next exhale, you're going to draw it down into the center of your heart. So breathe it in as deep and full and expansive as you can. Now exhale right here. Draw that seed down to the center of your heart. See it drop down into the center of your heart. Now let's take your hands onto the center of your heart. See that seed fully planted into the center of your heart. And all this intention needs, all this seed needs, is the water of your attention, is the water of your practice, is the nourishment of your thoughtful movement. is your nourishment of unconditional belief. And so here in this moment, sealing that intention in, and anything else you want to offer that seed of possibility for complete healing, wholeness, happy back, joyful life, strong, capable, flexible body. Take a couple moments now and just see if you can integrate any other thoughts, feelings, blessings, and or just stillness into this space. And then as you're ready, just start to maybe deepen your breath, wiggle fingers, toes. Maybe draw a gentle smile upon your face, knowing that these desires that live within that seed in your heart, they are alive, they are in process, and the fruits of your labor will be seen in no time at all in the material world. So giving yourself one more moment to just really love up on all the hard work that you've just done, all the insights that you may have had, and this dedication, this devotion that you've allowed yourself to create. Just taking one more moment to fully integrate, and then at no time, no restriction of time, take your time. You are welcome to either roll onto your side, carefully being thoughtful of your body, even in the transition. Sometimes the transitions are the hardest moments for the body. So slowing down is such a gift that I've given to myself. Trying to offer clients is taking the consciousness, the presence into the between times, into the transition times, into the stepping into and out of the car. Whether we are in movement, in connected, thoughtful, reconditioning movement, or just in our daily life, our body is still very much in motion. And so just taking those moments to just go a little slower, have that interception of how your body's feeling and how we might move from one place to the other is such a sweet gift to give to ourselves. And those are the moments that essentially accumulate much more quickly than those moments that we find ourselves on the mat. And so my blessing to you would be that some of these actions that you felt so deeply in your core as you prevented your spine from rotating, twisting, bending, extending, flexing, while you were still activating your arms or your legs in different planes of motion, that you correlate that with lifting a water bottle, closing the car door. And just throughout the day, there's all these moments where we are doing these actions. And just by planting that seed of awareness and letting our day be one where we are connected to our spinal alignment and we are at play with this challenge, with this opportunity to become thoughtful movers in everyday action with the lens of spinal love and compassion and healing in mind. That it becomes really fun. Taking just another moment or two in this beautiful side-lying posture. Letting go of anything else that you'd like to release here in this moment, just leaving it on the mat. And then with strong arms and strong legs, continue rolling yourself maybe to all fours. It's such a safe way to return back to upright posture. And then from here, there's a couple different ways to get up in a really, really powerful way. I think I'm going to offer you the bear pose to walk back. So I'm going to have you tuck your toes under again, wrap your under armpits, activate the chest, pull your bottom ribs back into your shirt, lifting your bottom ribs up just a little bit. So engage the front core. There you go. Take a deep breath in and exhale. You're going to come into a hovering all fours, lifting those knees up, then begin to send your hips back and walk your hands back. Hips back, hands back, trying to keep your spine as neutral as possible. Keep a generous bend in the knees. Place your hands on your knees. Extend your spine into neutral and then slowly continue to come all the way up. Now, before you move out of this position, you're in standing posture, that beautiful mountain pose of yoga. Just integrate here. Spread your toes. Stand evenly on both feet. Maybe sensing where your pelvis is above your two legs. Taking one more moment just to kind of feel like I'm standing on two legs. I'm standing evenly on two strong legs. My pelvic bowl is pointed straight up into my rib cage, and my rib cage is pointed straight down into my pelvic bowl. My neck is long, my gaze is upon the horizon, my shoulders drop naturally down beside my body, and my spine is so supported. And then maybe with that conscious awareness of breath, let's do a little bit of expand and contract breath. On your inhale, let's expand into the area that you need a little bit more release. So opening up that lower rib cage, upper lumbar back with an inhale breath. On your exhale breath, feel your front core hug in like it's kissing your back body. And again, breathe into the back side ribs. Exhale, you just feel this gentle hugging in of your front core without it prompting you to fold forward or let that head go forward. You're just recognizing that in this standing posture, I can breathe into my tight zones, especially into my spinal area, and I can exhale from where there's a little bit more weakness, and I can organize my spinal column and continue working on spinal posture even in standing. The one little suggestion I would give is toes turning in just a little bit for parallel so those inner thighs can connect a bit deeper. Last thing I would suggest is stay exactly where you are. Just lean your pelvis back into my hands. Go, 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 go. Pause. Pull this back into my hands, keeping your pelvis where it is. Puff this back. Yeah, not so much your upper shoulders. There we go. And just notice how that changed. Did you feel just a little bit more core activation? That's good. So just the tiniest bit, it almost, you have this kind of forward propulsion, slightly forward on your toes. So another thing that you could do, and that's going to make your erectors turn on. So this is actually one of the things I like to teach in my Pilates class. So take your hands here, or my training course. When you lean forward, can you feel your erectors turn on? And when you lean back, they relax a little bit. And lean forward on your toes, you feel these guys fire, and then you come back and they relax a little bit. So they're on probably consistently when you're in this kind of forward plane. That's another reason why I don't really love the tennis shoes with the big chunky back sole that keep us on a tip. So as you leaned back, you pulled your pelvis back and your bra hook back. As soon as you do that, you'll notice that the front core. So now do the same thing. Place your hands on your front core. When we go forward, it just like totally relaxes on us. When we go back, this has to brace for me to not fall backwards. And so that's another way to just balance that front back chain in standing, is every once in a while, just like, pull my sacrum and ribs back, but not overly the upper shoulders.